Hello, my name is Miguel Mata, and this is the This Way Out podcast, a component of the This Way Out project. This podcast is my attempt to address a few topics that can be especially challenging for some, but hopefully in a way that speaks to the humanity in each of us. It's my attempt at being a source for positive messages in a time where such messages can be hard to find. Good morning. It's Thursday, April 30th, 2020. Goodness gracious, what day was it again? Thursday? I have officially lost track of my days. Not entirely though, not entirely. Just because I had to push through to the home stretch there of the end of this semester here. I know I've said it a million times, and for those of you who tune in rather frequently, you're probably tired of hearing me say it, but this college thing it's quite the handful. But by the time you hear this on Thursday, I should have all my assignments done, all my tests done, and the spring 2020 semester should be in my rear view mirror. And usually I'm preparing to start my Uber and Lyft season because it's summer coming up. I take the summers off and I just do my Uber Lyft thing, but with this whole bug that's going around, that's probably gonna put a dent in that. So I have to figure out some sort of alternate plan. Anyway, how you guys doing? Everybody doing okay? Everybody doing okay? Everybody probably, most of you are probably a little frustrated, a little stressed, a little tense. Probably got all that stuff going on, huh? A little bit of this, a little bit of that. I don't mean to laugh. I'm not trying to downplay your grief, but it's a nervous tick. I laugh at chaos. I laugh at tension. And I know it's not very nice, but it's just it's something I do, and I apologize. But how are you holding up? Are you doing okay? Everybody ready to go outdoors? How about you guys with the anxiety and the depression? How are you guys holding up? Taking care of yourself, practicing your self-care, making some time for yourself, relaxing, decompressing, staying away from all those things that make you tense. It's a nearly impossible task. I get it. It's tough. And my heart goes out to you, seriously. Well, I wanted to reach out and see how you guys were holding up. And if you're having trouble, you feel yourself going into those dark places in your mind, and you just start feeling lonely and sad, all that sort of stuff, please get in touch with somebody. Call a loved one. Call a friend. There's so many ways. And you know what? Let me make this suggestion too. Call a loved one, call a friend, and call them on video chat. Get them on the phone where you can see them and they can see you. Right? You can see each other's eyes, right? There's something about conversation, face-to-face conversation, that really is, well, I guess I'm mostly speaking for myself, but I prefer personally to have face-to-face conversations. Right? I prefer those more than anything. And I guess if you're one of those types who are, you have the social anxieties or whatnot, that might not apply to you. And for you guys right now, for those of you who have the social anxieties, I don't necessarily have any advice for you right now, but stay tuned. In a future episode, I'll do some research, and I will try to come back with some tips and advice as to how to relieve some of that some of that tension if at all possible. And I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist or anything like that. I'm just a guy who's trying to make people's lives a little better. And but for those of you who experience those social anxieties, right, that you have difficulty in public places and difficulty engaging with people because it makes you uncomfortable, then I'll do a little research, and in a future episode we'll address that. Okay. But for those of you who do okay with people, and you have friends and family that you can call, I encourage you to give them a call, and give them a call on the video chat. If you can use the FaceTime, use FaceTime. Google has several methods that you can get in touch with people and have a face-to-face conversation over the phone. I know they have Hangouts. Hangouts is one. Google Hangouts. Google Duo. Duo is another one. They're not paying me to mention them by name, but I'm mentioning them for the sake of those folks who could be listening, who are having having a hard time being isolated right now, having to stay indoors. Google Duo, Google Hangouts, those are some free and easy ways to get in touch with people and talk to people face to face. Skype, I think Skype is still free, or a version of it is free, and you can do face to face calls that way. And Zoom, I got introduced to Zoom there at the end of this college semester, and it's free. You can have it up to a 30-minute call, I think, for free, a 30-minute meeting. And it's a pretty neat little program there. But regardless, I encourage you, those of you who might be having some trouble with the quarantine, those of you who might be having some trouble with the isolation, and your thoughts are going to those, they're not so nice, irrational thoughts are coming into the forefront of your thinking. Reach out for help. Give somebody a call. Okay. Something also to keep in mind, if you're in that place, for a lot of us, I'd say most of us, there's like one word that sticks out above most words when you're in that space, and that word is burden. I don't want to be a burden to someone. I don't want my problems. I don't want to put my problems on the shoulders of somebody else. I don't want to burden someone else with my problems. Although that's an understandable feeling to have, it's a completely legitimate feeling to have. When it accompanies the not so good feelings and emotions that come with depression, right? And anxiety and the feelings of being alone. When those lonely feelings, right? And you're just having those rough mornings and rough days, and then you couple that with the feeling of burden, that you don't want to burden someone. That should be a hint for you to say, yeah, I need to reach out for some help. I need to reach out to someone and give somebody a call, right? If you don't have a friend or a family member to call, maybe you have a therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist that you can call, or a counselor that you can call. It's probably about time for that. Call your doctor. But you'd be surprised how therapeutic just a phone call with a family member or a friend or a loved one, can be. Even though you don't want to be a burden. Everybody gets that. Everybody understands that. But, for your sake, give somebody a call. Give them a call. I want you to try something. I was reviewing my notes. Excuse the pause. You know how you get to feeling bad, right? You're by yourself and you're like, bah, man, when's it ever gonna end? Why am I so this or why am I so that? You start being really hard on yourself. I want you to try something. A little role-playing exercise, if you will. On those days when you're really being tough on yourself, it's probably happening a lot more, or may have happened once or twice in the last few days or weeks, given the situation. I want you to try something. I want you to pretend that those feelings and those thoughts that you're having that are just so clearly being said, those words that are being said over and over again, or those feelings that you're feeling, I want you to try something. I want you to pretend that your very best friend or your closest loved one, like your mom or your dad or your brother or someone you care for immensely, is saying those words out loud to themselves. Maybe they're saying that they're not good enough for this or that. Or maybe they're saying to themselves that they feel dumb, or they feel stupid, or they feel unaccomplished, and all those things that we typically tell ourselves. Pretend that it's your closest loved one saying that stuff about themselves. Pretend your closest loved one, your closest family member, your closest friend is saying out loud, they're saying to you how sad they are. They're saying how poorly they feel. Pretend they're saying that to themselves. And then while you're in that space of pretending that someone is telling you this about themselves, pretend or practice, what would you tell them? What would you tell your loved one? What if your mom came up to you and said, I really feel unaccomplished. I really feel unsuccessful. I really feel like I'm really bad at being a mom to you. I really feel like I'm not good enough for this person, or I'm not good enough for this life. What would you tell them? What would you tell your mom? What would you tell your dad? What would you tell your brother or your sister if they said that to you? What would you tell them? You'd probably say something like, no, I love you. I care for you. You're special to me. Right? You'd probably tell them that. No, don't feel that way. That's not true. You mean a lot to me. Whatever you would tell your closest loved one, the words that you would use, write them down on a piece of paper. Walk into the bathroom, look at yourself in the mirror, and then repeat those words to yourself. Because you should be your own priority. You should be the most important person to yourself. You should be your closest friend. You should be your closest loved one. Selfish as it may sound, at first, those are the kind of words, that's the kind of self-talk that you should be using with yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, no. I care about you. You are cared for. You are loved. You belong here. The world is better with you in it. You make somebody's world a better place. You make my world a better place. Say those words to yourself, those same exact words you might use with your brother or your sister, aunt or uncle, someone you care for really, a whole bunch. Use those same words with yourself, because that's how you should feel about yourself, because you're important. You're important and you deserve to be cared for. And you have to look at yourself in the mirror and you have to believe that. But try it. I encourage you to try that little exercise. But you deserve to hear those words. You deserve to hear those words. You are important enough to hear it, and the world is better, like I said, with you in it. And the world is better with you in it. Don't worry. Don't worry, folks. You're not alone. You're not alone. Okay? It's going to be okay. And as I usually say, and as I always say, if you have trouble, if you feel like you're having, like you're just having a hard time and you just can't make it make sense, and you don't think that you have someone that you can call or you can get in touch with, you can always get in touch with me. thiswoe.light@gmail.com. Send me an email. We'll talk it over. I'll give it a shot. I'm not a therapist, like I said. I'm not a medical professional by any means. But I'm somebody who's willing to listen and willing to help. But it's going to be okay. We're going to be fine. We all are going to be fine. Trust me when I tell you. And you keep doing good things. I know that you're doing your very best, and it's good enough. All right? Your very best. You're doing your very best, and it is good enough. All right? Stay indoors. Take care of yourself. Stay indoors. And if you can't stay indoors, you got to go to work. Take care. And thank you. Thank you for doing what you do by maintaining your essential status, right? Your essential status as someone who's considered essential, and that means you're important to what we have going on in this country and in the world, and it's meaningful, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So good for you. Don't forget to wash your hands. Okay. All right. So you know what? We're going to go ahead and end the podcast there. We're going to end this episode right there. And just a reminder, you can find this podcast on Spotify and CastBox, Google Play, iTunes, iHeartRadio. I'm still looking for guests. I think I have one interview lined up this weekend. Hopefully we'll get an interview in, and we'll be able to talk to someone who's got a special story to share, special message to share. But keep taking care of yourselves, folks. Keep doing good things. Take care. God bless. And we'll talk to you again on Monday. This has been the This Way Out podcast, a part of the This Way Out project. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to hear future episodes, please subscribe. If you would like to get in touch with me to recommend future topics, provide feedback, or for any other reason, you can comment on the episode or send me an email at thiswoe.light@gmail.com. That's thiswoe.light@gmail.com. If you're interested in the other aspects of the This Way Out project, be sure to visit my website at thiswoe-light.com.